Here we are, the holidays in our rear view mirror. Lots of memories and times with family, but also lots of spending, the gifts, the travel, the unexpected expenses. We're all anxious about looking at the damage we've done to our budgets. And if your credit card debt has been adding up over these past few months, the Sharp team can help. They can show you how a cash-out refinance on your home can help you catch up on your bills, pay off any debt, and allow you to start the new year debt-free. How's that for quickly knocking out a resolution? And of course, if Santa forgot to make your wishes come true for a new home, they're ready to talk today about pre-approving you for a house in the Triad. Call the Sharp team now, 336-575-9448.
I got the best out of these guys. They gave me everything they had, and we went home happy. And that's all you can do. Like you can't get blood out of a stone, is the old saying.
This is the Triad Podcast Network.
Since the early 1970s in Winston-Salem, professional hockey has sent chills down the spines of a super unique collection of fans, all thirsty for wins and unrelenting in the best of ways as their hunger intensifies year after year for a championship. But both things can be true. Fans can be hard to please, beaming often with unrealistic expectations, but they can also be viciously educated. And for me, that's among the highest of compliments you can pay to a specific fan base. Whether it be the Polar Twins in 1973, the first iteration of the Thunderbirds in 1981, the Mammoths in 95, or the Parrots in 02, these hockey fans represent more than just Winston, more than the Triad. They represent the best of what a developmental professional league is all about. They're appreciative of the way their team takes to the ice, the grit, the approach, the determination, the attention to detail, respect for the game, and most of all, the loyalty this level of hockey is given back to the folks who show their support, no matter the level of criticism, and continue to pay their hard-earned money to be a part of the live-action experience. And as it has been since the Carolina Thunderbirds' rebirth in 2017, the fans packed the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex in rage for Thunderbirds hockey. In 2019, there was the Commissioner's Cup Championship to celebrate, and now, with the bar having long been set but recently reestablished, this season, the Thunderbirds are breaking in a new coach. Named the third head coach in franchise history at the end of July, Steve Harrison, or Harry as you'll learn, is no stranger to the game. In fact, in relation to the fans, Harrison might possess an equally unique personality and understanding for the sport. It's not lost on the Toronto native who played major junior in Canada and was drafted in the 1978 NHL draft by St. Louis that he's expected to win immediately. The thing is, he did it. Thunderbirds got off to a 14-3 start, the second best start in franchise history, and had won 7 in a row and 13-14 at one point in December. They're leading their division, but there's plenty of season left as Harrison has to navigate the grind of the Federal Prospects Hockey League, the call-ups, and roster turmoil, life on the road, and fulfilling all 3,200 fans' expectations each night at the Annex, and so many others while on the road that the latest win is only the next ring on a ladder that leads to the ultimate prize, the Commissioner's Cup Championship. I'm Kyle Schasberger, and it's time we drop the puck. Here's my conversation with Carolina Thunderbirds first-year head coach Steve Harry Harrison on Triad Sports One-on-One. All right, full transparency. Steve Harrison and I are having a discussion via Zoom, so I suspect I know this answer just by looking at him. But this is an audio podcast first, and to allow the listeners to hear your explanation of why, I will ask you, why is it that you have the nickname Harry?
Well, my last name's Harrison, and my mother always wondered why she ever named me Steve, because probably since the time I was probably 4 or 5, I think. My brother's 3 years older, and his nickname was Harry, and then I just kind of became Harry too, and it's just one of those things that started at that young age. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people don't even know my first name. I think, they do, but it's like, I'll call and I say it's Harry. And if I call and said Steve, they kind of like for a couple seconds, they'd wonder who it is. So it's just been a nickname for a long, long time, and I've stuck with it.
So it's not so much the impressive congregation of facial hair then that you have on your face.
No, actually, the facial I've always had the mustache. I've had the big long mustache for a long time, but the goatee came out during COVID, and it just kind of stayed here. So, but no, it has nothing to do with it. A lot of people think that's what it is when they first meet me, but it's not. So
yeah, I started to work mine back over the last 3 weeks, ditched a
okay,
mustache that I previously had for over 3 years that started because of COVID.
right.
Ditched that in the spring. So you said you've been working on the mustache as a COVID thing too, and then kind of
No,
brought in the
no, the
goatee?
mustache I've had since I was 20,
Okay.
21 years old. And actually, my daughter, who's 30 years old or 31 now, I told her one day I was going to shave my mustache off, and she told me I would, no way. She's never seen me without it. And so, needless to say, the mustache will always stay. And the goatee's kind of hung around for a few years now, so I got a hunch that's going to be a staple too.
That's awesome. It's part of your brand. And I love
Yeah.
it that it fits Harry, but really the facial hair had nothing to do with it.
No, no. Well, there's nothing to do because there's not a lot on top either. So we don't. I got to have some somewhere.
Well, as you can see, I'll remove my headset here.
I got you, buddy. I like it.
Yeah, when you have nothing on top, you've got to do something to help complement, the
Exactly.
face. And
Exactly.
you are working it in an extraordinary way.
And a lot of people have told me I got a face for radio.
Yes, I've heard that many times. I can get down with that for sure. I concur. Now, is it a prerequisite in professional hockey that facial hair, if not mandatory, because we know it's hard for some of the younger guys to grow it,
Right.
it is highly encouraged because it's such a part of the game. And as an NHL guy, a Blackhawks guy from Chicago, playoff beards would grow one out every Stanley Cup playoff season. It's part of the game.
Well, yeah, I think even back when I played, a lot of guys had mustaches, and that was kind of the in thing at the time, and then the goatees kind of came in, and then the mustaches for a while. But now, with a lot of different, Movember now, with everybody growing the mustache I think it's for cancer in November. That kind of became a popular thing. But yeah, playoff beards are it's something that has been in the game for a long, long time, and it's an honored tradition. And as I said, I know a lot of people have done it, and then I know people who actually they'll shave every day during the holiday or during the playoffs because they've got the coach has gone the other way or something. But for players, yeah, the playoff beard is kind of a I don't want to say mandatory, but a lot of players do it.
All right, I love it. Let's talk a little bit about the team now. As you and I talked just before Port Huron visits the Annex for 2 games, Thunderbirds are sitting tied atop the Continental Division in the Federal Prospects Hockey League with Columbus at 47 points. You're coming off a stretch where you had won 13-14 in the midst of an organization's second best start to a season ever. Then you and Columbus split the last 4 times you skated. Yeah. How are you feeling at this stage of the season? Plenty of meat still remaining on the schedule through early April.
Well, I'm tickled pink right now. I mean, we played this weekend with. At one time, I told somebody we were 5 out of my top 10 players weren't playing, and so what I like mostly, and we're, as you say, we got quite a bit of the schedule to go, but. I told the players on Sunday. I told them, I said, congratulations on not the win tonight, but on the weekend of how we came together. And I said we're going to put our closeness and everything that we worked together over the weekend. We're going to put it in the bank. And come March and April when the playoffs start, we're going to pull it out because that's something that resonates with a team of how close we are, how we stuck together. And battled right to the very end on all 3 games. And I've never been more proud of a group here. They battled. And as I said, right now, the direction that we are going in, and this team here right now, we're built to that. We want to do as well as we can during the season, but it's obviously, it's longevity. And that's what we're looking for in April and May when we'll be on all cylinders. So I'm really happy with the direction we're going in, the position we're in right now. And as I said, we're just going to keep this boat going in the right direction.
You're no stranger to the game, this level of hockey. You played 15 years professionally. You've coached. How many years now have you coached? I couldn't add it all up.
Probably 25, probably
okay.
20, something like that. Yeah, around.
You won a championship the last time you were in this league back with Danville in 2017. You're a hockey dad, hockey husband. Your son now coaches after playing professionally. I say all this to preface my next question for a reason, and kind of the roster influx revealed a little bit of where you're feeling in that last question. Like, hey, we didn't have our best, but we competed. I'm feeling good. But hypothetically, I'm wondering, winning and losing, it teaches us so many valuable lessons. When you start so strong and then you go through a little spell here where you've got to re-identify who you are and the players that you have, do you find it more difficult to teach and coach during those winning streaks? Or when when you take a couple of bruises, couple of licks, and you've got to reassess. And to your point, you said, hey, look, I'm tickled pink how we've played. Maybe it is easier for you in this stage, but hypothetically, big picture, is it easier to coach and get guys motivated when you do suffer a loss?
Yeah, I mean that those are always teaching moments, and it's hard to tell a team things aren't going well, and we won 7 in a row, and so but during that time when you're playing and there's 7 in a row, I mean you have to keep your pedal on the metal, and you have to keep going forward, and so you a lot of times the guys will say, well, geez, we like to have a day off, and it's like, well, no, we're not having a day off. We don't want to. Once you get the motor going, you don't want to stop it. And I just gave the guys 2 days off, and we just split the last 4 games. So there's always teaching moments, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. But again, when you're winning, it's hard to go in and yell at the guys and say, well, geez, we're not doing very well. And but you got to criticize. You're trying to be better every day, and that's our motto, is that we're going to be better tomorrow than we were today. And that's all we can affect. That's all we can do, and that's all the players can do every day. And I'm trying to teach them that if they come to work every day and do their best and stick to what we want to do, then we'll be in good shape. But as you say, you lose a couple games or you're short like that. As I said, it's a little easier to pat them on the back and more encourage them to get through these tough times. And you're not quite as critical as maybe you were when you're winning 6 in a row or 7 in a row.
This time of year, people like to make plans for what they want to accomplish. Maybe your focus in 2024 is buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Maybe it's purchasing your first home or building wealth for your family. Whatever your goals are, the agents at the Ginther Group can help. It's never too early to begin working with Blake Ginther and his team, who have been a trusted resource to the Triad community since 2010. To reach Blake and his team at the Ginther Group, just visit theginthergroup.com or give them a call, 336-283-8689.
So get better every day. I imagine that's one of your foundational pillars or principles, as you've just revealed. But I am fascinated always when I talk to a coach, a manager, somebody leading, guiding a program, organization, whatever it is. Yeah. What would you say is your coaching philosophy? And I'll ask it to you this way. If you had a manifesto, a 500-page book written out by Harry Harrison, what's on those first few pages to establish who you are as a coach and what it is you're trying to get out of your players and your team?
Well, I'm a pretty simple guy, so my manifesto will probably be only about 5 or 6 pages. So. Not that I wouldn't mind 500, but I'd only be 4 or 5. But no, you know what? My motto has always been it's high motivation. You know what I mean, and no expectations, and then come in every day. If you can be better, not just as a hockey player, but as a person, and try to be better tomorrow than you were today, and you get it done probably 90% of the time, all the time. Good things are going to happen. One of the things that hockey players or sports guys or a lot of people, the expectations get in the way of where you want to be. And don't get me wrong, nobody's got higher expectations than I do, but you got to put them in perspective. You've got to put them in a situation where you want to succeed. As a coach or even a coach, basically, you don't want to put somebody in a position to fail. And so all they can really do is every day come to work, give me the best that they can be that day. And there's some days like we just had 2 days off. I've had a lot of guys sick, some injuries, things like that. And some people might look at practice today and say, well, how was practice? In my mind today, practice was the best. And was it sound? Was it like maybe I'd want maybe on a Wednesday, maybe not. But you know what? I got the best out of these guys. They gave me everything they had, and we went home happy. And that's all you can do. Like you can't get blood out of a stone, is the old saying. And so these guys, all I wanted to do is come today and give me their best, and they gave it to me this morning at practice. And as I said, I'm proud of this group who can dig down and give me what they want. But it's my job to make sure that we won 7 in a row, and the fans here, as we mentioned before we came on the air here, how rabid they are, and they hate to lose and all that. So it's the expectations here are I don't want to say maybe over the top is the best way to go, and that's fine. As I said, without the fans here, and they, trust me, they do a great job and help us out a lot. But as I said, the expectations here in the city are high for us, and I try to flatten that out a little bit and bring more motivation for our players.
What are those motivations, those motivators for these guys? Because I want you to kind of pull back the onion of what the Federal Prospects Hockey League is and what these guys are actually playing for and trying to accomplish. And you're guiding these guys. And I love what you said, your 4 or 5 page manifesto. Like, we all need to listen to that. Like, I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. But for these players, I imagine the stakes are what each player makes them, and it can be different for each guy.
No question. I mean, we've probably got 18 players here, and I'm not sure how many layers we have to the onion. But I got players that are I'm going to say maybe at the end of their career, who are playing, who love to play the game, and they want to be the best that they can be. And then I've got some players that are young, the first year players or second year players that are trying to move up. We mentioned a guy before again that he just got called up. I had 3 players just called up. So there's a big variety of people or players that I have here, and a lot going in a lot of different directions. And I just try to tell them all as a group, and I want them to be better people and better hockey players at the end of the day, at the end of the year, and the motivation for guys who are maybe at the end of their career and everything like that. And I always tell the players, I'm not any smarter than anybody else, but I've been around the block a couple of times. And when you get a little older, you want to make sure that, everything you do in life, you want to put your best foot forward. And so when you come to work today and people will know you and they'll say, hey, Steve Harrison or Gus Ford, who's one of my players, when you're 45, 50 years old, you can say, you know what, when I played, I gave everything I had, and I'm a better person, and I was a better hockey player for it. So everybody has a different perspective. But as I said, in the young guys, we're trying to push them. They're trying to get to another level, and God bless them. As I said, I've had a bunch of guys go up and down right now. I got 3 up, as I just said. So there's a little different motivation for everybody. But at the end of the day, when these guys get a lot older and look back on their career, I want to make sure that they can look at it with pride, that they did everything they could to be the best hockey player that they could, and they didn't take any shortcuts. Not just in that, because I always tell them, when I'm talking about hockey, I'm talking about life down the road. And if you take shortcuts now at 21, 22, or 23, you'll probably try and take shortcuts later. So, do the things you're supposed to do right. And again, you're going to be a better player, but you'll be a better person.
Yeah, looking at the active roster, it looks like 21-year-old Curtis Heggie might be your youngest guy, and then John Batita, 31-year-old out of Ohio. How would you say all these guys, this collection of individuals, and you're getting them kind of from everywhere too? We know the international presence in hockey; it's very real. Like you've got what's called the check line. I love that.
I got it. Yeah, no, and they all got to come together, and it's that's one of the things that I as I mentioned, like everyone worries about, how we're winning or what we're losing and all that, and again, nobody wants to win more than I do, but I look at it like where is this group going to be when the puck drops for the playoffs, and that's what I've got to look at, and right now. We're going in a direction that I'm so happy with right now. The room is as tight as it could be. The guys love coming to work. As I said, there's not really a lot for me to sit back and complain about right now, other than not being healthy and a couple guys getting called up. So if I got really healthy and those guys came back, then I'd be in great shape. But we don't always have that, and so we've got to find a way to win, and we got to find a way to stick together, and that's what we've done as a group, and that's what I just said to them this morning. It's not one guy, Gus Ford, the other guy got 3. I think he got 3 goals, and then I think Baker got 4 points, and somebody else was +2 or +3. And it's not those 3 guys that won the game. It was 18 guys that stuck together, or 16 guys that we had that stuck together and said, we're not going to quit, and we're not going to let this team, who on paper. There's about 4 or 5 teams at the top of the heap in the Federal Hockey League, and when we played them, it's always a an emotional game, and we just played them 3 in a row, and we stuck together and won. So those are the things that are intangibles that people don't know about. I see it every day when I'm at the rink. I see it when we're on the bus. I see it. We're having lunch here today. Those are the time people ask me why I sit and have lunch with the guys. I sit to have lunch with the guys because I want to see their interaction and how they're doing, and it's great. I'm on the bus, and sometimes my ears I perk up a little bit because I want to listen to the way they're getting along, or they're chirping at each other, and the friendliness. And so those are things that I look at as a coach, and I know how tight we are, and that's something that makes me very proud.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there's a whole lot of fancy travel, glamorous accommodations when it comes to life on the road in the FPHL either. So, and you've touched on this a little bit. You want to spend time with your guys. I feel like you kind of have to, too, considering the level of hockey of what you're at. So is there more of an emphasis? Is there kind of a concentrated emphasis from you, the influence of you trying to connect with your guys, develop a certain relationship? Because everything beyond just hockey the team has to deal with, there's so much more as they look to make a career for themselves, again, playing a game that they love so deeply.
Well, first of all, they keep telling me that I'm on a plane all the time when I'm going. It looks like a plane, but I guess somebody told me it was a bus. I'm not sure, but no, there's no fancy travel. It's a meat and potatoes type situation, and no, it's great. And my job here at this level, and I'm a little older than some of the coaches in the league, than most of the coaches in the league, and it's kind of like I'm a father figure on one hand, and these guys here. They've given me everything I've had, and I'm kind of like that father figure who, if they need a kick in the butt, they're going to get the kick in the butt. They know it. If I have to give them really a lot of tough love, then they know that too. But they're the first ones to know that my door is always open, and guys come in and talk to me anytime they want. And whatever they tell me, we're going to get through it together, and they know that. And I'm here to help them. So there's sometimes where I have to give them a little, like, as I said, kick in the back end there, or I have to give them a hug because that's what fathers do, type thing. But they know too that when I speak, and we joke about. I always tell the guys coach's time, and they know when coach's time is. And the first rule is don't mess up coach's time. And so we have this rapport with each other that I don't have to really yell a lot. I told a story yesterday that I went down and very calmly told the boys that things weren't going very well at practice. And someone told me, they said, what would you have done maybe 10 years ago? And I said, well, let's just say the stick might have been thrown, and there might have been a few words that you and I can't talk here on the air right now, and things like that. And all I had to say was a couple words to these guys, and they knew that it's time to kick it in a little bit. So that's the figure that I am here. And as I said, I really like it. And a guy can come in and talk to a guy on a personal level, and he can throw his heart out at me, and he doesn't feel as though like, well, I shouldn't be telling him this. But, and that makes me feel really good about being a person and an authoritative figure, I guess, to some of these guys. And so, yeah, it's that relationship that I have with them. And we have a bit of a leadership group here that are unbelievable. And I always tell them if there's issues, then come and see me. And they've come and saw me a couple of times about certain things. And maybe I'll step in, or I'll sit back at it. And but they've done a great job as a group to keep them together. And when you're this close and you have a long season like we do, there's always some adversity in certain things, but they've kept it down to a minimum, and because of the group that they are.
A few more questions here. You've been excellent as advertised, if not far better. I know listeners are certainly going to love this peek behind the curtain on the Thunderbirds, how they operate. I'm wondering if you could shine a light too on the system of hockey itself, the call-ups. You've talked about a couple of these players that are getting moved around. One of them most recently is Mario Cavalier, 2.21 goals against average, or netminder. Recently, it stopped 51 of 41 shots. This is just the reality of it for you, again, to have to deal with players getting promoted and the domino effect that is there between all the leagues all the way up to the NHL. Like, this is something significant that you get hit by.
No question. I mean, the best way I can put it, a lot of people understand about the baseball system, like, A ball, double A ball, and then, triple A, and then you go to the majors. And it's almost the same thing. That's the way it works. And at this level here, players get called up all the time. The next level players get called up all the time, and a lot of times it's a trickle down effect or trickle up effect, I guess, of what happens. And some guys are, as we talked earlier, their mode of coming here is to move up as quickly as they can, and we've moved some players, as I said. So, but we've always got to, you got to tighten the bootstraps, and when you lose a player like that, you got to go and look for another player. And a lot of times people think if I lose a top forward or I lose a top goalie, you're going to bring in another guy like that, and it's hard. So that's why the closeness of our team right now. We lost some players, but the other guy said, okay, we'll pick up the slack. But that's just basically the way it works. As I said, the SP or the Southern Pro League and the East Coast League. The East Coast League needs a player. They take it from the Southern Pro League, and the Southern Pro League, they call us, and then we get called up from our league. So it's a great honor. If a coach calls me and wants a player to go, I say, hey, go. And if he wants to go, then God bless him, and I hope him all the best. And I mean that sincerely. I know some coaches don't like it, but sincerely, I want the guys, if that's what they want to do, then I'm tickle pink for them. So they've worked for it, they've earned it. I didn't earn it for them. They earned it, and they deserve it.
It's time to get serious about your financial future. It's never too early, but it could be too late to get started. And that's oftentimes the hardest part, getting started. How much do I save? Where do I invest? Do I save for college or retirement? How much for each? And who do I talk to about it all? Okay, we'll keep things simple for now and help you answer the last one. We recommend you begin with a local financial advisor, and that's Jennifer Johnson of Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. She'll sit down with you for a complimentary introductory consultation and go over all of your questions. Get started on the path to achieving your financial goals. Visit threemagnoliasfinancialadvisors.com or call 336-701-1600. Get comfortable with your financial future. Three Magnolias Financial Advisors, retirement, financial planning, and investments. Securities offered through Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. Three Magnolias Financial Advisors and Cetera Advisor Networks are not affiliated. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity.
Well, it's great exposure, too, and continue to, market your organization, something that's meant so deeply to so many people here in the Winston-Salem area. And I know this is your first year as the head coach of the Thunderbirds. You've touched on the fans a bit already, but playing at the Annex in front of those Thunderbird fans, the exposure you've had so far, both on the ice, away from the ice, the coaches shows you do, the other appearances, people that bump into you. What do you make of this wild fan base that gravitates so strongly towards the Thunderbirds brand?
Well, it's fantastic, and probably, and I've been around a long time, and probably not. I don't know if I've been in a situation where they have the help that we have here. Starting off with, like, we have a booster club that's second to none, and to help the players and try to take care of them, as we haven't really spoke about it, but these players don't make they're not making millions of dollars a year, and so the booster club helps them out, just trying to make a living and trying to be here with food and just just camaraderie. A lot of people come in here, it's their first year, they don't know anybody, and people try to help them, take them to dinner. And as I said, so our booster club is unbelievable. But just the local support of other people who aren't even in the booster club, it's phenomenal. And then the fans, when we do come to the games, like we seat 3,200, I think, here like that. But if you've been to a lot of hockey games, when they come out, I swear sometimes there's 10,000 people here. And we were in a rink there the other day where there was, I think, over 4,000 people, and they weren't as loud as our 3,200. And so the love, the affair that they have with our hockey team is second to none. And people love to come here and play here on our team, but they love to come in for the visiting team because they know what a great atmosphere it is. And I always talk to and we do the coaches show with Brendan there that they're our seventh player. You know, Seattle has the 12th player, and we have our seventh player, and like that. And they give us an energy, and they give me an energy. Like I stepped on the ice the other night, and people went crazy because I got a little excited before the end of the first period. But just walking out and people clapping and getting excited. How do you not get excited? And then after the game, if someone has not been here and we win, they do the Sweet Caroline. And I'm telling you, if you're here for that, and that doesn't take your heart and wonder really how good sports is, then there's something wrong in my mind. It's the first night I heard it, we won here, and all of a sudden there's Sweet Carol. I didn't know they did this, and you know the players went all the way around the rink, and I'm sitting here thinking this is unbelievable. And it's not the National Hockey League, but I'm going to tell you something. When those guys are skating around, they don't know if they're in the Federal Hockey League or the National Hockey League the way they're felt here.
The buzz, the energy, it's palpable for sure. One more question, and I'm going to use it not on asking what each individual player makes on your roster, because we know it's not peanuts, but it's not millions, it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a normal average show type thing for the most part over, a 5-6 month type period. So I'm going to use my last question though to ask you still something that could be pretty revealing on your stance of the game, but it's something that brings a lot of excitement and jazzes up so many folks who are in attendance, and that's fighting. I've got to know, a coach like you has been around the game so long. And we know at these games in particular, things can get ratcheted up, energy can be high, emotions can fly off the handle. What is it about fighting and sparking a team or changing the course of a game? And let's be honest, do you coach that? Is that something you talk about either at practice or in the moment of the game that you might condone or give a little wink, wink? Have you done that? Do you do that?
If you have a certain player, and I love to say I've never done it, but I think it's a team type situation. A lot of people don't want fighting in the game. I hope it never leaves. Fighting is hockey is the only sport that basically polices itself. If you want to, in football, you can do something dirty, and other than the refereeing, there's no the guy gets a penalty. In hockey, we police ourselves, and I hope it never leaves, because it makes everybody honest. And when I started, I was 6 years old, and you could. I'm not saying it was a fight, but you could still do that, and it was a different age group, but it's something that honest. It makes the game honest. And as I said, I hope it never takes out. Does that spark a fight? Spark people? No question. And the ones that are premeditated, or I don't want to say premeditated, that are set up. Those are starting to go away a little bit. Those happen every once in a while. You got two tough guys, and they know they want to go, and they go. And a lot of times, those there's one fight in the game, and it's over because those are the two tough guys, and they're going to fight each other. And there's another rule about fighting for hockey is that like Wayne Gretzky never had to fight like a guy like Dave Semenko. I know he was on his team, but I was just thinking, and there's an honesty about that. I always joke. I was playing junior, and my first game in junior hockey, and I go in the corner, and the guy wasn't as tall as I was, and I hit him, and all of a sudden he said something to me, and I said something back to him, and I came back to the bench, and someone said, "Well, do you know who you're yelling at?" And I go, "No," and his name was Stan Jonathan. And I'm aging myself here, but he was probably one of the tough guys in the Boston Bruins when they were the tough team. And he just looked at me and kind of laughed and said, I wouldn't fight you." And that's the honesty about the game. A tough guy like that would never have fought me. I was a 16 or 15-year-old kid at the time. He was a 19-year-old. And that's the honesty about the game that I love. And so those things happen. Two tough guys, or we had Joe Kennedy, who's a great hockey player for us. 3 minutes into the game against Binghamton here, they fought one of their best centermen. And it was just an honest go in the corner, hit each other. I don't like you, you don't like me, and let's go. And those are the things that I think is an honest part of the game, and I really like it. It's the premeditated stuff that they're trying to get out that I agree with, and the shenanigans that happen after certain situations, just straight up fighting. As I said, I hope it never leaves.
Tremendous stuff. Spectacular storyteller you are, Harry. It's been so much fun getting to catch up with you, get the pulse of the Thunderbirds, get your view on the game, and teach a lot of people about a lot of hockey. And if you want to get out to the annex, 7:35, the puck will drop on Friday, game at 6:05 as well on Saturday, both of those against Port Huron Prowlers. Another home game coming up Thursday, January 11th. Still plenty of season through April, Harry. Wish you and the club all the best. I'll get out to a game here soon. Trust me. Haven't been yet this season, but
right. You'll enjoy it, and I hope the fans come out. The one thing about hockey, it's a different sport, and people, oh geez, I've never been to a game, and I've had a lot of fans over the years say I went to one game and I fell in love, and it's different. I've gone to the National Football League game, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. It's a great atmosphere. I've gone to basketball games. I've gone to college basketball games, and there's something about the game of hockey. It's fast paced. You can't baseball too. I love baseball. I love going to those games too. But you come to a hockey game, you turn your head, you've missed something. And it's quick, it's fast, exciting. The fans are usually boisterous, and as I said, you come here, we're packed almost every night. As I said, I just think it's a great family atmosphere to bring kids. Kids come all the time. We do a lot of things with the kids after we skate with them, but it's just the atmosphere. But to come to a game, just come to one game, and I think you'll change your mind about the game, even if you've never seen it before.
And super affordable too, great for the family. Yeah. So Harry, thank you so much. We will talk soon. All right,
appreciate it. And Happy New Year to you and all your listeners.
Harry was outstanding. Many thanks to Brendan Riley for helping to secure coach at the start of the new year. You can listen or watch Brendan with Harry on his coach's show throughout the rest of the season, and games can be heard on WTOB. For more information, go to CarolinaThunderbirds.com. It's there you can also purchase tickets to any of the upcoming home games at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex. They start at just $10. And while you're there, click the team tab. Trust me, scroll to the coaching staff. Harry's picture isn't there, and likely because he didn't want his own face lettuce to be overshadowed by the pristine stash of the aforementioned Josh Butita, who is the player assistant coach. That mug alone has me already deciding to bring back my own mustache in the spring. I'm Kyle Schassberger on Twitter and Instagram at Kyle Schass. You can follow the Thunderbirds at Carolina T-Birds. Hope you enjoyed my visit with Steve Harry Harrison on Triad Sports One-on-One.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode on the Triad Podcast Network. Our mission is simple: provide information, advice, and stories about the people and places that make the North Carolina Triad such a great place to be. You can find us by searching Triad Podcast Network on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much wherever you like to listen. If you like what you heard and want to support the show and those that contribute, we would truly appreciate a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. It helps spread the word along, as do your shares on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Triad Podcast. To get in touch with us, simply email info@triadpodcast.com. Thanks for listening.
This is the Triad Podcast Network.